You are all activists as designers. Activists aren't people on the street. Activists are people who take action and change things. Our goal isn't to slow down how fast we're going over the cliff. Our goal is to stop and turn around. What I say is what we need now is fearlessness, not hopefulness. Hopefulness, to me, is weak, is wan, is pale. We need fearlessness. You're not here to be hopeful. I hope I didn't give you any hope. I want to give you a fierce sense of what's possible.
Delegates have come from all New England states and New York to be here today. We have architects, interior designers, engineers, contractors, brokers, educators, you name it.
So I think one of the benefits of being able to come here and talk about trying to meet the 2030 commitment is that we see we're not meeting it across the board, even though we're trying. And we're dealing with the same obstacles and the same issues, but being able to pool our strategies about how to get there really will allow us to be more effective moving forward and trying to meet this really important goal that we have signed on to and adopted as a community of practitioners.
The idea is that we want to get everyone together who has a share in the environment and who can actually facilitate the types of change that we want to see and get them talking to each other and break open the box and tear down the walls and just sort of begin to use our skills as designers of this world, not just for our projects, not just for our clients, but on ourselves. I think we're our biggest design project.
The diversity of the group that's here today really contributes to the conversation because that's exactly the diversity of perspective that we need when we talk to our clients about sustainable design and integrated process.
We're at a pretty exciting time right now in that we have quite a bit of data. We have quite a bit of buildings that have already done this. There are leaders in the field, and I think there have already been identified no-cost ways to draw down our carbon usage. So I think as architects, maybe we need to begin as our next step to solving climate change is to not look at just the buildings and the four walls in our site, but to look at a land planning. How can our communities be net zero, and not just for energy, but water and carbon?
So when we do talk about integrated design, it is so important to acknowledge the different energy systems and different scales. So in order to really understand that, we can't just look at just architecture, we can't look at just planning, we can't look at just urban scale. We have to understand that all of these systems work together. We live in one super large collection of energy systems.
These days we're trying to make our buildings simpler. When we were first really sort of wildly diving in, we're going to make green buildings, we would sort of pile everything on. We would pile on fancy machinery and fancy processes, and they felt like they were getting complicated. We've been working really hard on simplifying them. And that's why we're trying to do integrated design, is if the mechanical engineer doesn't believe you can do it, they're going to fight you. You won't bring your costs down. Everything on the building will ratchet up in cost. So the only way to get affordable buildings is to really slim down some smart areas so that you can spend it on the stuff that lasts forever.
Most clients and building owners now, I feel, are becoming more and more sophisticated. And one of the pieces for us is to challenge them now on how far they can go and realistically go with energy efficiency and sustainable design.
I think these are things that we should have done yesterday, essentially. We're a little bit behind and we're catching up, but there's still enough room for improvement and for change, and so that's why we're here, to try to get a lot of people thinking about these strategies and what we can do and learn from others and improve the work that we're doing.
We all are designers. Like, the acoustician has real input in what a symphony hall looks like. The engineer has great impact on eventually what a huge tall tower looks like. I think it's exciting, especially in this sustainable age, that everybody brings something to the table, and we all grow from everybody's little hyper-focusing on something. When you expand the conversation outside of your own head, that's when things happen. I like the idea of fearlessness as we move forward, and maybe that can be the contagious thing that we take back to the office.
For me, it's important to make sure that I'm constantly learning from from peers, and not feeling like, you know, we've got it figured out on our own, and acknowledging that that there's a lot of expertise in all of these partner firms and all of these organizations, and so it's really valuable to be able to hear other people's experience and their challenges and their successes, to be able to really know where we are, but also to learn from that and to take things back and make our process better.
What's in the RFP varies greatly, and the sophistication of the client beyond that varies greatly. In every case, education is an important thing for the architects and design team as a whole to engage in, and it's a two-way street. We need to learn about what will make a sustainable project for one client or another. It's not always exactly the same. It varies, and there are as many flavors of sustainable solutions as there are clients. And so we need to make a good fit, and that's not always understood what that good fit will be at the beginning, because the client is on a journey too. The type of work that we do in terms of energy modeling, that may move around. The software will change, who is actually doing that may change, but the piece of it that goes to integrative design, I think will still be there. So in some ways, we've learned the hard part, which is how to put it together. And what we need to do is continue to be flexible in order to meet the needs as those change. The fact is, if you use an integrated process, if your goals are clear, and if you start right in at it, you can provide a highly efficient, renewably sourced, powered building that is for your standard budget. And it's even true among projects with renewable energy, because the cost of photovoltaic power has come down so much. So given your standard resources, you can have an incredible building. You shouldn't be afraid to ask for that. We need to think outside of the box, and by the box I mean the building. We need to think about our regulatory environment, our financial environment, and how can we voice our opinion as design professionals to help change that environment.
Biggest aha from last year is just really the realization the world has drastically changed in a good direction. I mean, we all know the bad parts, which are definitely there. But I mean, the amazing news is that, you know, we have gotten to the tipping point. We are no longer in a fossil fuel world. We are in a renewable world. And that, for me, is huge. So, you know, to finally be in a place where not only does it make, you know, incredible sense in terms of global climate change and making a better and healthier environment and all the things that many of us talk about, but financially, it's actually the most prudent investment that people can do these days. So that, for me, is just, I mean, is an amazing shift that really changes the world. The unfortunate part is that still is really a secret.
So I think this conversation is really important because we have to continue it as a group. Yes, there are experts in the room, but this may be the first time that people have been exposed to this conversation, and you have to disseminate the knowledge to keep it evolving, I think.
Yeah, and this was a really significant evolution to go from 100 architectural practitioners, more or less, to a full room of multidisciplinary practitioners, where we're stepping out of just the same circles that we typically engage in, and we strategize together about how we can really drive this integrative process or otherwise come up with solutions to do these things that are really important.
Yeah, I mean, we're working towards the industry that we want to have, not necessarily the one that we have. And so the only way to do that is whenever we're all doing it together.